Hey guys, welcome to my Rakdos Goblin deck tech. This is the deck. So Rakdos Goblin often play like the games play out in very different ways. So the first thing that I have to say, it's a very fun deck, and it's a deck that often creates a lot of stories. So often after tournaments, I go to my friends and I'm like, "Oh, I did this like really powerful thing," and it's often quite cool. So the deck could play out in very different ways. It's a creature toolbox slash aggro slash mid-range grindy combo and sometimes even ramp deck. So let's start with the first thing the deck could go in. It could have very aggressive draws with things like Stalactite Stalker, things like Goblin Guide, or like other haste guys. We have things like Goblin Lackey, of course. Another route is that we have. Another thing is that we have like Ancient Tomb, Chrome Mox, Mox Diamond for really fast start to put out like often really powerful 3-drops like the Rebel Master, a Fable, a Bombardier, Squee, the Legion War Boss, sometimes even a Marus. Yeah. And so sometimes the games could go quite quickly. Another thing that the deck is quite good in is it's very consistent in a way because it plays a lot of 2-draws. So there the toolbox thing comes in. We play a lot of 2-draws. We play, of course, Demonic Tutor. The next verse is maybe Diabolic Tutor. We play Tainted Pact. Play the Profane Tutor as creature tutors. We have, of course, the Recruiter. We have the Matron. The little bit worse, but combo finish thing is a Bogart Harbinger. We've got a lot of tutors also, like Birthing Pot. We have since we are a creature tribal deck, we can play the tribal tutor with Pyrofuros. Yeah, I think these are the tutors. So often you can find the required things that you need for the situation. With a lot of different answers to handle stuff. Like we can often like kill a lot of small creatures with things like the Chain Roller. We have other removal goblins like in the Munitions Expert or like the Morg Fanatic. We have the Twin Shot Sniper, etc. So this deck can grind quite well. So as I showed you, we not only play 1-drops, we also our curve goes a little bit higher, as it's often the case with Goblin decks, since we have a lot of power for stuff like these guys. So another thing besides the grindy or toolbox or mid-range route is the combo or combo-esque or unfair route that the deck could go. First comes to mind is the Snoop combo. The Snoop combo works as follows. You have the Snoop, you play it, and then the Snoop can play goblins from the top of your deck. and it gains all the activated abilities of the creatures from your deck. So, thing that you can do, you can tutor out. If you play the Snoop and you have, for example, add the Recruiter or also the Harbinger, you can put the Kiki-Jiki on top. So the Snoop can get Kiki-Jiki ability to copy a non-legendary creature, which itself it is. So it can copy itself like 1 million times. And with the last tutor, you copy the Harbinger or the Recruiter again, which puts on top the Morg Fanatic or the Lieutenant, which then give all the Snoops the ability to sack itself to drain the opponent out. You can also achieve the Snoop combo in tutoring it out with the Recruiter. So as I said, the Snoop combo, with the Snoop combo, the Snoop needs to be one turn on the battlefield, which is like makes it quite vulnerable. So another thing to power it out more quickly is to have the Snoop and then the Kiki-Jiki combo, as I explained, but in between we can put the Torch Courier, which can sacrifice itself to give another creature haste, which can speed up the process then. So if we have, for example, the Recruiter, we could put on the Snoop, then the Torch Courier. So we play the Snoop, reveal the Torch Courier, we play it from the top, sacrifice it, give it the Snoop combo, and then do the combo as I explained. Another strong slash combo-esque finish is to start with an early Leggy, which then can cheat in big things like these token generators, or like even bigger things like sometimes Ringleader, sometimes Kiki-Jiki to copy itself. The best things, of course, Muxus, then which usually puts in like 10 to 20 power. The second Lackey is the Rowan Instigator, which does the same thing, but it has double strike though, so you can put two things. Funny trick is if you have the Instigator hit the opponent, have the Matron, you can put in the Matron with the first strike hit, tutor out a Muxus or whatever you need, and then with the second hit, because of the double strike, you can put in the Muxus and usually win. Yeah. Another thing is, of course, as I said, the Goblin Recruiter. The Goblin Recruiter is maybe the most unfair thing that the deck has. So it comes into play and then you can stack the top of your deck with goblins. Depending on how much mana you have, you can either stack like all the goblins if you have enough mana to not lose against the wasteland, or you can make smaller packages with the Recruiter. In paper, it plays out also, like not only in paper but also in online. It plays out it's very tedious. Like it takes a lot of time, and sometimes I get very uncomfortable resolving a Goblin Recruiter. So back then, we often did after Recruiter the Snoop combo, as I explained, with the Torch Courier and all the stuff. And if the opponent killed it, we often went for Ringleader, which then drew 4 cards into value. But if you play the Recruiter, you can often assume how the game would go. You can maybe often have a guess like how much removal it has. So if the opponent has a lot of removal, we can also just play value things, not this, but value things, and just, you know, win in a couple of turns. With the new addition of the name sticker goblin, these router piles got quite different. So a thing that you can often do now is to resolve an recruiter, and then depending on how much money you have left the turn after, you can play the name sticker goblin, which creates like 3 to 6 mana, but more often it's like 4 to 5 to 6 mana. And then play the Snoop, which then could put in a lot of token with the Slinging Lieutenant, with the Instigator, the Rock Marshal, and then on top have a lot of like haste slash lords. So with the token package, we often put in the Chieftain, the War Chief to give the tokens haste, and on top of that maybe some lords to just attack for like 30. Besides that, if the opponent kills the lords, you can also sacrifice all these tokens to drain the opponent out. So yeah, we have this ramp game often, like with the Nameseeker Goblin and the Prospector. The Prospector could also be part of these token Muxus packages to play even further stuff on the top of your library. So yeah, I think I explained some of the different routes that the deck could go. We play 36 mana sources, as you should do with this Hiver curve. We have some mana sinks with things like Grenzo and of course like bigger stuff. Grenzo, for example, maybe you don't know it, it's a creature which could be played as big as you want, where X is the counters that you put on top of the base power 2/2, and then you can activate it for 2 and put the bottom card of your library into your graveyard, and if it's a creature with less power, you can put it into play. Often, Grenzo against, for example, a counterspell deck resolved can win on its own if it doesn't get removed. So the only thing that you need then is just activating the Grenzo. Another mother thing is, for example, the Namesticker Goblin, which gives you creatures +1/+0 and haste. And then if you have like 6 power attacking, you get another attacking Goblin. Other mana things are, of course, often like the Birthing Pot, variants, and yeah, we have like other things, like for example the Goro, which can give like our creatures haste. So we can be quite fast, so we have a lot of haste. We have the Goro, we have the Goblin Chieftain, we have the War Chief, we have of course things like Ringleader, the Bombardiers, Kiki-Jiki, etc. So the deck plays 34 lands. Most of the lands are of course for fixing the mana, but we have some utility lands included. We have quite good mana, so we have against counterspell decks, of course, the Cavern of Souls, since we are a tribal deck. As little brothers of the Cavern, we have the Secluded Courtyard and the Enclosed Territory to fix our mana. We of course have the Wasteland. We have Creature Land and Den of the Bugbear, which creates goblins, is a goblin, so works well with the synergies of the deck. We have Sokanzan, of course, which doesn't create goblins, sadly, for reach, because we're not a burn deck, but sometimes we need to finish the game. We have the Barbarian Wing and the Remnant Ruins. On top of that, we have the Goblin Burrows, which can be activated for 2, pump our goblins, and then make our doggy creatures and quite pesky ones. We have, of course, in the new edition, the Surveillant, which helps quite often if you play off curve. As another removal, we have, of course, the Shadow Scroll Smashing, which can either be played as a land or a removal spell. Of course, it can also be used as Chromox fodder. On top of that, we have the Shinka to give some of our Legends first strike. Sometimes you get the opponent with that. And the rest, I think, is just mana. So that's the Goblin deck. As I said, it's quite fun. It's really good because a lot of your creatures or cards have quite high power level, and the things that the deck is good against is often decks with small creatures. Since we have a lot of burn, we have Tarfire, which can be, for example, also be tutored out of the deck with these Goblin tutors. We have some Split Burn, Fogbolt. We have like creatures which can kill opposing creatures. Like this one. And against like medium-sized creature or mid-range decks, we can grind quite decently. Combo and combo decks we can raise with our own combo. Against control decks or decks like Scapeshift or like maybe Azorius Control, can either be quite fast with the combo or could grind them out. Things that the deck struggles with can be things like back to basics. As I said, we only pay 3 basics. We have a lot of fetch lands and the Moxes, but it's often a struggle. Another thing is the card Umizawa's GT, which we have like some answers in Goblins for that can be tutored out. We have the Goblin Trash Master, which can sacrifice another Goblin to destroy an artifact, or we have the Crater Maker to sacrifice and destroy colorless non-land permanent. Another, for us, very hard thing to deal with is the card Murktide Regent. For that, we included lately the Sting Scourger, which is not the best card, but it can like bounce the Murktide Regent, which often then is hard to play again in the same size. It can also bounce other big things like, Questing Beast or whatever. And the next worst thing to the Sting Scourger against the Murktide Regent is Sting, the Twin Shot Sniper, which is a removal 2 for 2 mana or 2/3 for 4, which can jump once the Murktide Regent. These are the good / bad matchups or cards for the decks. The deck's quite fun, as I said, and I'd like if you give it a try. As I said, it's a story deck. Like after tournaments, you have a lot of things to tell to your friends and sometimes to your opponents. And yeah, that's the deck, and I hope you give it a try. Cheers! Hey, so if you like my content, please subscribe to the channel or give me likes or comments under the videos. It really helps me out a lot. Thanks!